Hey, you did it. You found it. You found the podcast version of the show. It's Writer Radio. Here are the things you need to know. We stream live Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to noon Eastern Time at writerradio.com. 2, you can find every episode on YouTube, youtube.com/@writerradio. We're on Spotify, same name, Writer Radio. We are on Twitter or X @BradWriter, BradRiter. We're on Instagram @Writer Radio. There's a group now, Writer Radio Facebook group. Go there, find that, follow that, like it, whatever you have to do. We've got a phone number. You can send texts, leave voicemail, 716-288-5246. Email, bradwriter@gmail.com. You don't need to memorize this. It can all be found at writerradio.com. That's the hub. But those are the places. Thanks for listening. Please tell a friend. Please share. That's how we grow. Glad to have you on board to the podcast version of Writer Radio.
Welcome to the morning meeting, everybody. Or should I say the whenever you decide to show up
Getting
meeting.
my first client made me feel like I actually...
I said the hip, hop, the hippie, the hippie, the hip, hip, hop, the don't stop, the rocket to the bang, bang, boogie, say, yup, yup, the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie to beat. Now what the hell is to the dish, I'm ripping to the beat. I mean, the groove, and my friends are gonna try to move your feet. See, I am on the mic, and I'd like to say hello. I to the black, to the white, the red, and the blue, the purple, and yellow. But first I gotta bang, bang, the boogie to the boogie, say, yup, the boogie to the bang, bang, boogie.
I want to read to you directly from my phone a text message that I received yesterday. It's long, but I'm going to read it directly from my phone. I didn't know that I was about to do it, so I don't have it ready for you. But I'm going to find it right now. And here's what it says. All right, so this was about yesterday's show, which was episode 147. Turn the page. Yep. Yesterday was 147. So regarding yesterday's episode 147 of Writer Radio here at writerradio.com and on the MixLR or Mixler app, whatever that's called. Here's what it says. Because of the late start in multiple family and self-medical appointments today, I'm listening now. Maybe you cover it later, but here goes. Someone calling your explanation an excuse is bullshit if you didn't call it an excuse. An excuse is an explanation that completely excuses the behavior. An excuse is an affirmative defense, like self-defense or insanity. It means you're not responsible. If you're just giving an explanation, then it's just that, not an excuse. A friend used to say, if you have to say anything after I'm sorry, then you're not really sorry. I like that. There's some typo in here, so it makes it a little confusing. But, all right, I like that. Don't tell me you're sorry and also not accept responsibility for it. But I dislike it from the perspective of most things are messier than that. Most of the time someone's mad at me, it's because they think I did or meant something that either I didn't mean or it's not accurate. I still apologize because there's something I could have done differently, and I try to say I'm sorry for not doing something differently or handling it better. It doesn't mean I'm not sorry, and it also gives a person a better understanding that I don't hate them, but simply miscalculated or didn't accurately take into account their feelings or misread a situation. An honest explanation usually helps everyone. We should just stop using the word excuse unless we are saying we did nothing wrong, bearing no responsibility, and are not sorry. So, yeah, it's been a problem for me for a while. I don't know, what do you call it? A stone in my shoe. It's just been a thing. The word excuse, like you're just making excuses. Like, no, you asked what happened. You asked why let's say, for example, you host a radio show and nobody's paying you to do it. You're just doing it for yourself. Okay. This is you. And for the second day in a row, the show starts like half an hour later than you promise everybody it'll start. The only thing I have is like your trust. Like Brad said he's going to do a show at 10 o'clock every day, and he's done it every day for 146 episodes. And then yesterday, I could not get the show on the air at all. I couldn't. The stuff didn't work. I had, and that's what led to this conversation about excuses versus explanations. It's like I don't know. If I was better at technology, then it maybe would have worked. If I understood why nothing I did was going on the air, maybe that would have been fine. But I couldn't get it on. And you can't, when you can't get the show turned on, and you're doing a streaming show, if you can't get the show on, you can't get on to tell people that you can't get on. You just aren't there. Like, I don't know, is he dead? He moved to Alaska? We're using a different time zone now? I couldn't do anything about it. There's no like universal way. I can't send out a group text. Hey, heads up, stuck in traffic. I couldn't do anything like that. I just couldn't do it. So then I started the show at like, whatever it was, 10:25, explaining to you, why the show didn't start until 10:25 when it usually starts at 10. And really, it's more like 10:05, 10:08. There's music playing. It's fun. But something's always happening at 10 o'clock. Not today. And when I say not today, I mean yesterday. I'm referring to yesterday. I just couldn't get the thing on the air. Know what happened today? Literally nothing. This will be not my excuse, but my explanation, as I'm going with the clarification provided by the text message. I didn't wake up until my phone said 10:14 when I woke up. So I've been awake for 22 minutes. Yeah, I've been awake for 22 minutes. I run out of gas, man. Once in a while, it just happens. I'll sleep for, I won't say days, but I've had this experience. Like, I'll get up every day I was doing the radio show. I wasn't late for any of those. The first 100 episodes where I actually had to drive to Lockport. I've been getting up right around the same time. It's like 8:15. But I bet there were like probably 2 days of the first 100 episodes where I had to drive to Lockport, where instead of waking up at 8:15, I woke up at like 9:20, and that really stresses the situation. It's like, oh God, go. No shower today. Splash some water on my face, get in the car, drive to Lockport. We're good. Get on the air and just kind of get through it. But I mean, literally, I don't have to leave the premises to do a show. And the alarm was set for 8:15. I slept on the couch in the basement. I do that when I was watching Kill Tony last night, the new episode of Kill Tony, which was not great. Last week's episode with Shane Gillis, great. This week's episode, not great. I'm still going to watch them all. But I just knew coming off of that one, it wasn't going to be great. It was not great. But I fell asleep watching that. I had the alarm set. I did not have the phone plugged in. That's one thing. So the last time I overslept, which didn't involve the radio show, it must have been a weekend. It was within the last couple weeks. But there was a day where I didn't wake up until, it didn't really matter. But I woke up at, 10:40 or something. Like now. I woke up like now. And my alarm's typically set for 8:15. But the reason that the reason I didn't wake up that day is that the phone died. So relying on a thing with a battery that dies to be your alarm clock, that might be the death of America. That might kill us all. That's a bad thing. I'm going to go to sleep, and the thing that I need to wake me up also might go to sleep if it's not plugged in. It's probably a bad plan. That said, I lost a job because I didn't wake up to an alarm clock that was plugged in. I'm looking right at the alarm clock right now that failed me. And it didn't fail me. It did everything it could. I just didn't wake up. When I got fired from WGR in 2007, I had a show to do at 10 o'clock, and I woke up at 9:55 or something like that. And it was probably, a 15-minute drive to the station. And I called and asked, should I come in? And they said no. And then they fired me over the phone, which is fine. I'm not mad about it. I'm just explaining. Like, again, this is not an excuse. This is an explanation. why did the show start late? Here's what I did for you today. I switched the time because I hadn't set up the podcast clock. Like I schedule an event. And every day I have to schedule an event that I'm going to do a show from 10 to noon. And today when I scheduled it at 10:17, I didn't schedule it from 10 to 12 or from 10:30 to 12. I scheduled it from 10:30 to 12:30. Now, I don't know that I'm actually going to sit around for the extra half hour, but I might. I'm trying to, it's like a good faith gesture to show you that I'm not holding out. I'm not James Cook here, holding out, unwilling to participate, waiting for a contract. I'm not doing that. I just legit didn't wake up. So today, what happened was I woke up to my alarm, whatever the alarm sound is that I've programmed. I have several alarms. Alarms have been a problem for me for my entire life. Like going back to high school. I blame it again. Is it an excuse? Is it an explanation? I grew up next to a fire hall. And at the time, I haven't heard that stupid alarm go off in a long time. But when I was growing up, that alarm, if there was a fire or an emergency call, like they needed a EMTs, ambulance, whatever, the siren would just blare. It was, I don't know, I guess a few feet higher, but basically aimed at my bedroom window. It was the loudest thing in America, and it would happen daily. And you first move in there, and it sucks when you're, 3. But by the time you're 12 or 13 years old, you're just like, I don't hear it anymore. So, again, not an excuse, but it's context. I'm giving you context for what happened. So, I have had to set, multiple alarms, purchase alarm clock apps that are bigger and crazier and louder than the ones you can get for free. They're just like built in the phone. I've had to do all that stuff. And the alarm does not work when the phone dies, which it did not. I got it back at 2% today, but it was on its way. That could have become a problem. But maybe the reason it died is the alarm was just going off for 2 consecutive hours. You know why it was going off for 2 straight hours? Because it fell into the couch. So it was there, but I put my phone under my pillow, and then I have a vibrate function in addition to the loud noise that it makes. And that'll get you every time. Something under your face starts vibrating and making noise, you're going to wake up. But not if it falls into the couch cushion. So it was down, and like you could hear it. And it's not like an aggressive song. It just goes dun 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 do 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 boom 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 ba 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 ba. Oh, I should set the alarm. Here, I'll set the alarm for 10:44 or something. All right, if I do this, I'll explain. This is, again, we discussed right at the beginning difference between excuses and what is this? Okay. The difference between excuses and explanations. And I feel like I'm giving you an explanation, and it might come off as an excuse. I'm not telling you that you didn't deserve for me to start the show at 10. I'm not telling you that. I'm telling you this is what happened. I'm just telling you what happened. So that's what happened. I run myself into the ground, and once every 2 to 3 weeks, I have a day where I need more sleep than I'm getting. So this, doing a show at 10 o'clock, it was to continue doing the show after the radio show ended after episode 100. We're at 148 now. So we've done 48 of these. We're almost halfway to the radio part of it. It was me committing to the regimented schedule, the 10 a.m. thing. Like, that's what I was doing. And then here we go. This is what the thing sounds like. I'll plug it in so you can hear it better. So I slept for 2 straight hours. with this playing. But honest, I could take a nap right now listening to this. This is sleepy, non-alarm music. But it hasn't been a problem lately. Until the last 2 days where the show started late. First one, I will say not my fault. Not my... fault is the wrong phrase. I could do the whole show with this playing and not notice it. I got to change the alarm. That's number one. We need a better, more aggressive, angrier alarm. All right, I'm going to hit snooze. Then I have to do some math. 5 plus 9, 14. Done. 49 plus 73, 122. Yes. 71 plus 65, 136. All right. Dismiss. Leave me alone. No wake-up check. Where's that? No wake-up check. There we go. All right, so that's gone. The point is, 2 shows, 2 days, 2 late starts. One of them, I was here the whole time and scrambling and just couldn't make it work. And that's, it's kind of on me. Sort of. But that was technology. I have no explanation. It wouldn't work. I don't even know what I did to fix it. I made it work. Who's calling now? Scott? Why is Scott calling? I'll just answer the phone. What?
Am I on?
Yeah.
All right. So listen.
What?
I had to call in because you're dealing with the alarm.
Yeah.
And I will vouch for everybody else because you and I have, in a way, lived together.
Yeah.
Traveling for UB football.
Six nights a year for 10 years or something. Yeah.
Right. You have to pick better alarm sounds.
Okay.
because this is a recurring thing.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, nobody can be mad at me, but
I'm verifying it to everybody else.
Yeah.
This is a real thing.
Okay.
I typically am up on the road before you.
Always.
And
I've woken up twice before you in 100 games. I've woken up twice.
And there have been times where I've been up and I'm like, I've watched TV for a little bit or whatever. And I'm like, I might as well take my shower,
Yeah.
Do all that, where your alarm will start going off as I'm like walking into the bathroom to take the shower.
Right.
I'm like, oh, all right, Brad's getting up. And I'll brush my teeth, go to the bathroom, take my time, shower, get out. You have not moved an inch.
Right.
Alarm has only gotten louder.
Yeah. Yeah, I do that. They build. That's part of the downloaded
it's a building thing. It
expensive app.
escalates.
Yeah.
So now I'm getting out of the shower, and now it's and I'm like, holy crap! I can't believe that he's sleeping through that.
Yeah.
Because now I've taken the shower.
Yeah.
And you can hear that in a hotel room. Your alarm is going off. The TV is on.
Yeah.
And you're just gone.
You're in the shower. The shower would wake up regular people. Just hearing the water running might wake up a person.
And you're gone.
Yeah, I'm good at sleeping. I'm super good at sleeping.
You haven't moved an inch.
Mm-mm. No, it does nothing.
And then I let it go for a little bit, and then eventually I'll wake you up.
Yeah.
And say, hey, and you're like, yeah.
I'm up.
I say your alarm's going off. And you're like, oh yeah. Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And you'll turn it off, and then
Right. I'm fine if there's a person to interact, and you know what the problem is today too. And again, like I opened the show by talking about excuses and explanation. Like I could just be like, my bad, or I can explain what happened. My wife went to work today. She had to go in on a typical day. If she doesn't sense me moving around at 9:30, she'll be like, hey, get up. I'll be like, oh, yeah, thanks. Like that's all it would take. But she wasn't home. I went upstairs when I woke up at 10:15 or whatever, and the 8-year-old is watching, Dude Perfect on YouTube or something. Like, hey, did you notice that I wasn't awake? He's like, actually, I did hear you snoring at like 9:40. And I thought, that's weird. I was like, well, if you had come down and said, hey, Dad, wake up, I'd wake up, but nobody helped. So the one common thread is if I sleep through something, nobody helped me. And I'm not saying that it's anyone else's responsibility, but if there's someone else around, when I slept through work at GR, I lived alone in an apartment. If the alarm doesn't wake you up, what are you supposed to do? You can't do anything.
If we weren't rooming together, there would be numerous noon kickoffs
where I wasn't there at all. Yeah,
you would make it at halftime,
right? If I could,
you were just out.
Yeah, if I took an Uber to get around the mountain or whatever, because like we have to leave the hotel and then take a bus. And yeah, you're right. I need a little help once in a while, and it's not a ton. Like you've never been unable to wake me up. You just have
never been unresponsive.
Right. You've just had to mention, hey, it's time to go, and I'm like, oh yeah, thanks, human being. But that's the other thing too with the alarms. Like I have to change them up because they just work. Like if it's a song that I hear every morning, it just starts working itself into a dream, and there's nothing I can do about it.
You gotta change it to
alarm,
to a
siren,
a sound.
Bang,
rather than
bang,
like
bang.
because you always have these kind of sing-songy things that they're too gentle.
Okay,
it's too gentle. It's got to be jarring.
Okay, all right,
for you,
fair.
Because and so I heard you talking about it, and I wanted to verify for everybody at home listening,
right.
In the listening
audience.
This is a real thing.
Yeah,
this is not I was busy and I made something up. This happens to Brad
all the time.
Where when he is sleeping, that's what he is doing.
I'm committed.
That is, yes, you're all the way in to the sleep.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Scott. I appreciate you chiming in on a Wednesday. We'll talk to you on Friday. We talk to you Monday. We'll talk to you Friday, but Wednesday, this is good. This is perfect. Don't apologize. Right. This is great. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right,
thanks.
Goodbye.
Justification. It's not an excuse. I read the whole thing about excuses versus explanations. I'm just explaining what's going on. That's all. Keep doing what you do, Brad. I have faith in you. You should not, Gus, 13. You shouldn't have no faith in me. I'm trying. Like, even when, so the radio show ended, let's go back in time. The radio show started. It's like, hey, we'd like you to host at 10 a.m. I was like, I don't know about that. I don't know about 10. I didn't say that, but I was thinking it. I accepted because I wanted to do the radio show again. I haven't done a radio show in 14 years. So I was like, yeah, that's cool. I'll do it. But still in the back of my mind, like, well, what happened? The last radio show that I got fired, 2 radio shows ago that I got fired from, it's now 3, was exactly this. It was at 10 o'clock. Brad doesn't wake up on time. He can't work here anymore. The good news is I'm working for me. So the only people who matter in this scenario are the people listening to the show. No one is paying for it. So you can't tell me what to do. I could very easily say I'm not doing a show at 10 a.m. anymore. I could do the show at 11. I can do it at noon. I can do it at night. I can do whatever I want. I'm doing whatever I want. But I promised you guys I'd be on at 10. And then I was not on at 10. And that's 2 days in a row. And yesterday was technology. Today was entirely me. So yesterday, whether it was an excuse or an explanation, that was me not understanding technology. Today was me not being awake. So that one's more my fault. But yes, it's a sing-songy alarm that fell into the cushions of the couch and did nothing to wake me up. And I appreciate Scott calling in to verify that I just suck at getting up. I'm bad at it. Anyone who's ever met me in real life, I'm in my prime at 9 o'clock at night. That's when I'm cruising. That's when I'm in a groove. But I'm not going to do a show at night anymore because it takes away your life. What does that do with baseball? Like, I can't. We had baseball last night. Baseball resumed. Want to know? Fall ball. Games don't really count. There's no playoffs. We put in the scores and there are standings, but there's no playoffs. There's no trophies. There's no all-star games. There's none of the stuff. It's just kind of screwing around out there. Watched a documentary on James Harrison last night. Did not realize he played MAC college football. Yes, he did. Kent State. That's right. That was before my era. I should look him up real quick. I didn't watch him play at Kent. I knew he did because we've just been to Kent a bunch, and you look at the history of that team and all that stuff, and you go to games. When was he there? I started at UB in 08, and he was undrafted in 02. So yeah, he was there at Kent State from 98 to 01. Where'd you see a documentary on James Harrison? I would watch that. You know what I'm not going to watch? The Kingdom. If somebody put a gun to my head and said you're going to sit through The Kingdom, the entirety of The Kingdom, which is a Chiefs-themed documentary, I would say just pull the trigger, man. I'm not watching it. I'm out on The Kingdom. But I would watch a James Harrison thing. I'll watch most documentaries. I'm not watching the Chiefs, man. Not happening. I am just now realizing there was a new episode of Hard Knocks last night, and I forgot all about it because Hard Knocks has gone with trivia. I go to trivia on Tuesday nights. Trivia, then come home, then watch Hard Knocks. And then I should have John Van Nortwick on the show right now, and I don't. I didn't talk to him. Oh, man. What a mess. This is what happens. He's oversleep. You're like, oh, yeah, I forgot about all this stuff from yesterday. But we had a baseball game yesterday, so I didn't do trivia, so I didn't think of Hard Knocks. There's a new episode of Hard Knocks that I will watch when I'm done with this TV show, or with this radio show. When I'm done with that, I'll watch it, and then we'll talk about it tomorrow, and I'll probably get John on to recap it. But, whoops, totally forgot. All right, I'm going to play a song because Bob Gaughan will call me at 11 o'clock on the dot, and I need to be ready for that. So if I keep going right now, we're just going to get Bob. I'm just going to keep talking. I don't want that. All right, what did we do? We did the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. Then we did the requested song from Ben, who said there's a great Irish song called Back Home in Derry. It was written from prison when the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald was on the radio, and it's written to its tune. Both great songs. Check out the Hair of the Dog version of Derry. It's my favorite. We did those two things. Then we started talking, and now it's time to play some music while we wait for Bob Gaughan to call. And we'll be back in just a moment. It's Writer Radio. Thanks to Scott for chiming in and verifying my alarm clock story. Damn it. Sorry, guys.
The way my kids date now, it's so simple. They go on an app, whether it's Grindr or whatever, they swipe right, swipe left, and they get the date automatically.
Let's check in with Writer Radio's
living legend,
Bob Gaughan.
Hi, Bob Gaughan.
Hey, Brad Ryder, how are you?
How are you, dude?
Doing great.
Are you excited that football started? We get to go, like there's a game. You're not going, but you're still going to be on the broadcast. But we've got football a week from tomorrow. There's a game, dude. It's happening.
I know. It's exciting. There's actually week 0 starting this weekend. A few college football games, just a handful. But, yeah, we're up and running in just over a week. So that's very exciting.
Yeah, I'm pumped. I bought the Phil Steele book yesterday. So I haven't opened it yet, but I bought it yesterday, and it's sitting on the table right in front of the couch, ready to go, like the little coffee table thing. And that's what I'll do from now until January. That's what I'll do with my free time, is just read about random football teams and try to learn stuff to try to keep up with you guys who know way more about the college football landscape than I do. So that's my plan this year, is to be more in tune with Phil Steele.
Well, and it's good because I usually start reading Phil Steele in August, and it takes me until January to finish the
No
book.
kidding.
So it's crazy.
What do you think the word count is in that thing? It's 350 pages of just tiny little font, everything you could possibly imagine. He doesn't even use complete sentences because he doesn't have room for it. Oh, my God, it's so good. There's so much stuff there. It's the encyclopedia. If you don't know about this book, you want this book. You'll like college football more just by buying this book. It's like $20 at Barnes & Noble. But it's a magazine, but it's 350 pages of everything you could possibly want to know. It's awesome. What's on your mind? What's going on with you?
I had people in from out of town, or one person in from L.A.
Okay.
So I have the decision to make. Do I take them because they want to try Buffalonian food? They're in L.A. You know, the food in L.A. sucks.
Mm-hmm.
So do you take them to, like, the traditional places? Do you take them to the Anchor Bar? Do you take them to the, whatever, just Salvatore, stuff like that?
Yeah.
Or do you go to the hole in the wall, just dive bar?
Okay.
We decided dive bar.
Good for
Where
you.
do you is that what you would do
Well,
if you have people in from out of town? Or
I
not?
will say this. I have forever. It is. So Anchor Bar is known as the wing place in Buffalo, and but it's kind of, if you live here, the standard is to call that like a tourist trap type of thing. And I have always said the Anchor Bar wings are not underrated or overrated in any way. It's the price. Like, they're delicious. They just cost too much. The last time I was at Anchor Bar, I got wings. We go there all the time to play trivia, and we just their Miller Lite is fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with their Miller Lite aside from the price. But it's fine. I decided, I think it was last week, 2 weeks ago, something like that. I went to trivia with two of my kids, and we had not eaten dinner. Like, there was something beforehand. It wasn't baseball yet, but there was something that led us to. I'm like, you know what? We'll just get wings at Anchor Bar. They were bad. They were actually bad. Like, I did not enjoy them. So I have disagreed my whole life, and I think it was just a bad batch. The waitress explained that they had a new cook, and that was probably a part of it. And it doesn't mean I won't get them again, but it's the first time ever that I've agreed with people who say, don't get the wings at Anchor Bar, because they weren't any good. There were like little deformed ones in there that looked like alien chickens that a regular chef would throw out, but the new chef didn't throw out. So you get these things that don't look like wings. The presentation was crap. The food was it wasn't terrible. It just wasn't good, and I wouldn't recommend it. It's the first time I've ever had wings at a real at Anchor Bar or Duff's or whatever, the big places where I wouldn't recommend it. So yes, I think if you've got hole in the wall in your mind, that's the right way to go.
And there were 5 things that we had them try, some that you realized, but some I didn't realize as we were looking at the menu, and this was over a couple of days. One is I knew that a fish fry, so we went to the best hole-in-the-wall fish fry place for this, which they loved. I guess that's a Buffalonian thing. I didn't realize pizza logs was a Buffalonian thing.
Yes, that was invented by somebody in Lockport or something.
Yeah, so they wanted to try pizza logs because they'd never had pizza logs before. That was unique to me. Then we go out for the traditional, beef on weck, and also going for the wings, of course. The one thing that I didn't realize with the beef on weck is the horseradish sauce, which was unique. It looked like homemade, but it wasn't. I think it was just a Miller's, but they don't get good horseradish sauce, I guess. So that was something when they left. They said, you gotta send us Miller's horseradish sauce.
All right.
So that was different. I didn't know that. They didn't know what a scum dog was.
Ah.
A scum. I didn't. Now maybe I'm sure there are scum dogs around the country, but I thought scum dogs were all over the place. They said, no, not in California. And of course, and I did know this. The stinger. They didn't know what a stinger was. So I knew that was, I think.
So you did all of these things? How long were they in town?
Well, you know what we did? We kind of said, okay, you're just going to take, one bite of this, one bite of that.
Oh, okay.
Right?
All right.
So we're gonna there's 4 of us. We're all gonna order everything, and we're gonna make it a little buffet. And the person that's out of town just take one bite of the scum dog, one bite of the stinger, one bite of this, and we're gonna all share. But so that's how we did it.
What did our guests enjoy the most? What did our guests not care about? What did you learn from all of it?
They loved the beef on weck with the horseradish. Absolutely,
that was a big one.
Absolutely, that was been like the wings with the blue cheese. So that was the winner. And I mean everything. The fish fry was good. I think she was wild about the pizza logs. Pizza logs are. I like them. I like them a lot. I could see how somebody might not.
Well, not care.
Like that.
Yeah, no, you don't. I don't. I've never had a pizza log and thought this is the most delicious food on earth. But it's like, you like egg rolls? Yeah. What if I replace cabbage with pizza? Like, it's gonna work.
Right.
That's gonna work. I will say this. This is not a Buffalo related thing. The simplest, cheapest. I'm hungry and don't have any chance to sit down and eat a meal thing to do in Western New York and possibly all of America is the taquitos at 7-Eleven. It's the pizza log idea. It's just we're gonna make a taco, but it's shaped like a pizza log. That is the most edible shape of product. I'm driving in a car. The food is shaped like a stick, but there's no stick involved. And they're like 2 for $3. You can get the taco kind, you can get the jalapeno kind, you can get the chicken kind, you can get the steak kind. This is not an endorsement fully of the 7-Eleven and their food, but roller dogs, those are gross. I mean, I'll eat them because I'm gross. But I think it's indisputable that a food shaped like an egg roll but stuffed with better stuff than cabbage is going to be a winner. And that works at 7-Eleven. It works with the pizza logs. They have the chicken version of the pizza logs now. They make apple pie version of the pizza log. All of them are great. All of it is great. But that shape of food is perfect.
Yeah, and I went to so one of the dive bar places that we went for the fish fry. Gene's Junkyard, which is in Tonawanda, has taco logs. So the pizza log, that's pretty good.
Right.
I gotta admit, that's good.
Right.
Yeah.
So now, if you want a crappier version of that, you go to 7-Eleven, and it costs you $1.50 instead of $14 for 4 of them. You can get 2 for $3 or something like that, and it's the same basic concept. I'm sure it's not as good, but that's where we are. So awesome. What's up?
Well, I think there's a lot of maybe things that we've talked about in the past that kind of resurrected themselves this week. One, yesterday, remember we talked where I said, I think Brandon Beane was putting Sean McDermott on the spot by his actions, by doing everything to the defense, saying, listen, I have confidence in Josh Allen, but I don't have confidence in your defense. That's why 6. All right, we talked about that. Yesterday, and again, is it just me, or this is the first sign ever? Could there be a little, chink in the armor that is Beane McDermott here? Yesterday, McDermott comes out, and they say, he's putting, our safeties on the spot, because he says we only have one safety, Taylor Rapp, and then we're looking for, somebody else. Yes, okay, maybe he is putting the players on the spot. He also might be putting Brandon Beane on the spot there by saying, hey, what are you doing here? I only got one really good safety. And he did the same thing, and again, sensitive to this because what Beane did with Jeremy about the receiver situation. Yesterday, again, and this is uncharacteristic of McDermott, to come out and say, we got 3 good receivers, but after that, it's kind of up in the air. So that back to back yesterday makes those comments, and everybody's like, maybe they're going to get Gabe Davis, maybe they are, maybe they're not. But in my eyes, not only is he putting the safeties, not only is he putting DeMar Hamlin on the spot, not only is he putting Samuel on the spot, I think he's also putting Brandon Beane on the spot. What do you think about that?
100%. And yeah, I would go back to, like you said, this is the first we've seen it, and it is the first we've seen it from McDermott. But I think behind the scenes it's been going on because, to me, there was no other way to read what happened when Brandon Beane was on GR with Jeremy and Joe. That was 100%. I feel very confident that he wasn't mad at Jeremy or Joe. He was talking to McDermott, but Jeremy was the target. So he was saying the things he wanted to say to me anyway. He was saying the things he wanted to say to McDermott, but out loud to Jeremy. So I from that day I have sensed this split between McDermott's idea of how we're going to win the Super Bowl and Beane's idea of how we're going to win the Super Bowl. So it's not new, but that is, as you said, the first time we've heard McDermott say anything publicly that acknowledged that there's any sort of a problem there. But I 100% agree with you that's who he's talking to. He's talking to Beane through the media the same way that Beane was talking to McDermott through Jeremy.
Right. Really, a lot of what I said Beane said to McDermott was more with his actions.
Right.
McDermott was actually saying it with his words.
With the words. The actual words.
The actual words. There's no interpretation here. Oh, yeah, he's calling out the receivers. He's calling out the safety. Oh, by the way, he's also calling out the general manager, who's known for having this roster with great depth. And what's he saying? He's basically saying, this depth isn't nearly as good as the reputation is. It's exactly what he said yesterday with his words.
It is weird to spend this much time thinking about the position of safety, isn't it? Like, they got through okay with Hamlin as a starter, but are we past the warm and fuzzy phase of everything that happened to Hamlin, where are we done now pretending that's what, is that what we're hearing? Is McDermott's like, all right, look, he's alive, he's fine, he's totally healthy, he's okay. Now I don't think he's good enough as a football player. I think that's maybe the most interesting or surprising thing to me is that we've moved on to where DeMar Hamlin's just a guy on the roster now that is capable of being or we're able to criticize as opposed to just being thankful that he's around because he's a good guy and he survived.
Right. No, 100%. I mean, I think the one thing that came out of that, disaster that was the Bears game is certain people cut themselves. And now I have no confidence. Well, I never had confidence in Hamlin. I don't think he's going to get cut, but he didn't cut himself like Codrington cut himself and Vandermark cut himself. I mean, those guys, and I think even Dane Jackson cut himself.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, those three guys, I think, with their performance, cut themselves. And then you had the questions of Cole Bishop and Hamlin, which now we have no confidence in. I think eventually, even though it was bad that he got injured, because I think so far the way it looks. Now maybe I'll give Cole Bishop, maybe he's just injured. So let's just give Cole Bishop a part of a pass, but he has not been impressive so far. But Hancock looked like somebody that I have more confidence in than Cole Bishop, and I think going forward it wouldn't shock me at some point this season that the two safeties are wrapping in Hancock. So we'll see going forward. Cole Bishop's in really better. I mean, I better hope, or I think Bills fans better hope that his performance is based because he's injured, because otherwise, he was horrible, and Buffalo Joe can't cover anybody.
Well,
he can't cover anybody.
So I talked about this yesterday with Matt Perino's on. What are you supposed to do? Like, the first touchdown, it's just beyond Andreessen and just in front of Bishop, who takes a terrible angle, and like, it doesn't matter. It's fine, I guess. Like, I'm not gonna worry too much about the Bills losing a preseason game by a lot when none of their players play and the agenda is totally different. The Bears are trying to build excitement and build confidence in Williams and prove that they've got a quarterback and they've got a new head coach, and they're gonna they need to go win 38-0. That's cool for them. The Bills don't need to even go to that game, and they're fine because what matters is Baltimore, and even that, it's like, I don't really care that much until December, January, February for the Bills. So it's different. But can I accurately judge? If Joe Andreessen gets dropped into a real game and he just takes the place of Matt Milano, like the team is there, but now Joe's in for Milano. Now I can judge Joe what he looks like on the Bills. When he's playing with people I don't know and people he's never going to know, people that are not going to be on the team, and so is Bishop. So now it's like I'm staring at the guys that I know, which are Andreessen and Bishop, and they're surrounded by dudes I don't know. And then the play happens to go right where they are, and I want to say they screwed up, but part of me is like, well, I don't know if the pass rush was better, and if the corners were real corners, and if the other linebacker was a real linebacker, and if the other safety was a real safety. Like, I don't know what to do with it, but I felt the same things you did watching, especially on that one player. Like, what is happening here? And the way that the tight ends were just destroying them early in the game. Like, it was frustrating, but I don't feel comfortable saying that's Joe Andreessen's fault or that's Cole Bishop's fault, because I don't even know the dudes who they're standing next to, and they don't either because they're not going to be on the team. So I'm just kind of in a tough spot watching that and openly criticizing the guys that I know.
Well, but the combination of both, the combination of what we saw from, let's just say, Cole Bishop, and then McDermott coming out yesterday and saying we need another safety on this team. Okay, that's concerning. That leads me to believe that my eyes did tell me the story. In that particular situation.
Yeah.
So that is Hey, another old take that came through. I don't know if you saw Mike Greenberg talk about Josh Allen and how good he is in the playoffs. But this also goes into the take about, will ESPN, now that they're in bed with the NFL, literally owned by the NFL, will they go negative? So last week, and there's a clip going around, and maybe you saw it, where Greenberg comes up with these unbelievable stats that I had never even heard of before, like that Josh Allen is the best quarterback of all time when it comes to like touchdown to interception ratio.
Really?
I didn't know that. That he, in the 4 years, are you ready for this? In the 4 years that the Bills have lost to the Chiefs in the playoffs, in those all playoff seasons, all not just the Chiefs game, but in the playoff seasons, 28 touchdowns, 1 turnover. It's
Oh, my
those
God.
4. So he comes up with this stat basically saying that, Josh Allen is by far the best quarterback never to make it to a Super Bowl, and he might be a playoff quarterback of all time, which is one of the things that I've been preaching to you. But here's the thing. Then he asks the question. Then he turns to the panel and asks the question. And the obvious question is, why the hell are they losing these games then?
Right, yeah.
His question is, so can Josh Allen do more?
Oh, my God.
Are you kidding? So my question is, Mike Greenberg an idiot, an absolute moron, or is it just what we, suspected? And it also came out this week, by the way, that ESPN scrapped a Colin Kaepernick documentary. I don't know if you saw that. So is it like we're not doing, now that we're owned by 10% of the NFL, we don't want to do anything negative, really. We don't want to force the issue here. When it was so obvious, he had to go negative after he gave those Josh Allen stats.
Right. What's the point? What's the point of that? What's the natural thing to say next? And he just twists it to nothing. That's terrible. That's terrible. Yeah. And the thing about ESPN owning part of the league, it's like for a while it seemed, and this has been going on for a long time. I don't even know when NFL Network started, but when NFL Network started. And they got Rich Eisen to come over from ESPN. It's like, well, Rich Eisen's selling out, and you'll never hear another real thing out of him. And that's proven to be true. That wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough to have a network called NFL Network. You need to buy the other networks so that it doesn't sound like state information. It doesn't sound like Pravda. It instead is. ESPN said this, so that's got to be true. The average person isn't you, Bob. The average person doesn't think about what that means, that the league is. They've always been in bed because of the massive TV contracts, but the average person doesn't think about what that actually means, that the information they're getting is coming from the league. Like all that's the league. That's the league talking. So the Shield, Protect the Shield, has invaded a larger media source than the one that had the Shield as its logo, and that's different. That's a twisting of it all, and that's the way to control information. The way to control information is not to have your own network; it's to own the other networks that used to give the real information. So, not everyone cares like we do about the death of journalism and who owns what and who gets to say what and who says what they want to and who's telling the truth. Not everybody cares about that like we do. But I'm with you, man. That sucks. That's terrible.
And by the way, I don't think a lot of people saw this because so much has been made about that CBS merger and, did Colbert being canceled. And you've heard that whole controversy.
Yeah.
Somehow I missed this, and I don't know if you saw it, but in that whole new merger that Trump had to okay or something that, the FCC had to okay. The NFL now owns part of the CBS too. Did you see that?
No.
Now, I didn't think
Doesn't
a lot
surprise
of it,
me, but nope.
It just came out that part of that new agreement, part of that sale, the NFL now owns part of ABC, ESPN, and it just came out last week, just so you know, part of CBS as well.
Beautiful. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great news.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Hey, sad note. Friend Art Wander passed away.
Yeah.
So Art was somebody that was, I think, cutting edge in a way of the way we do sports talk now. So not that sports talk wasn't done for 100 years, but when Art is working, and he's got 2 producers. He's got me, and he's got Rocco Pendola, who I used to do a show with, so I'm very familiar with Art's show a lot. And when he starts his show, he is kind of changing the tone, because sports talk is done more. We're still interviewing, the volleyball coach at Sweet Home. We're not going after, the Bills and Sabres and stuff like that. So Art winds up winning. Believe it or not, even though the GR at the time didn't have the Bills, but his show winds up being the highest rated show at night. And I think it was because he really started, and I think he deserves credit for it, for everybody that has kind of gone forward, at least locally here in Buffalo, that's really what's the changing of the guard, around the late 80s, early 90s.
Right.
I think people think the way sports talk, sports talk's been around for 100 years. Yeah, but the way it's done now, you're really talking like the Fan in New York City started in like 87, 88. And by the way it's done when Art did it, you're talking early 90s, the way it started to change its tone. It hasn't been 1,000 years ago since that did it. And Art was on the cutting edge, and he certainly deserves credit for that.
Well, I never knew him well. I knew him. We knew each other, but I didn't. He was kind of out of the game by the time I was into it, or at least that's the way I perceive it. He was still around. He was at like NSA and he was at Empire and that sort of thing. But we did not cross paths at GR, which means he predated Chuck, right? So does Chuck happen without Art?
Well, no. I mean, yes, he predates him, and then they work together.
Right.
So Chuck is doing afternoons, and Art's doing at night for a short period of time. They were both on at the same time. But you're right. I don't know if GR brings Chuck in without the success of Art.
Yeah.
So there's no question. I think that Art deserves a lot of credit. The other funny story about Art is his whole life before GR. And he would always say to me and Rocco, yeah, I helped start Dan Patrick, and I helped two actresses you might know, but a lot of people don't. Pia Zadora, if you know her, and Jeannie Trebelhorn. Jeannie Trebelhorn was in one of the Grisham books where she's back dating Tom Cruise in the movie and stuff like that. I don't know what Grisham book it is, but she was an actress that was kind of popular in the 90s as well. So he's saying he started all these people, and of course, me and Rocco are like, okay, well, how come you don't get these people on? We never on. So his last show, his retirement show, because he's going to go to Empire, he's going to go to NSA. He's going to leave GR. Rocco winds up calling up all these people. And in the back of his mind, he says, I'm calling him up thinking, are these people, going to come on? Believe it or not, they all come on. They all, Jeannie Trebelhorn, Pia Zadora, Dan Patrick, they all come on his last show and say everything that Art has been telling us for years. And we're like, holy cow! I can't believe this was actually true. He was a legend before he hit even GR.
Jeanne Tripplehorn is a quietly, sneakily, incredibly gorgeous actress from 1992. She was in Basic Instinct. She was in The Firm. That's the Tom Cruise one you're talking about.
The Firm.
She was in Waterworld. She is how old is she now? She's 62 years old. But she, like you said, that I haven't thought of her name in a long time, but she was like sneaky, unbelievable to watch on TV, and she just hung out with Art.
Yeah.
What does Art have to do with Jeanne Tripplehorn?
Because again, he was around the country, and I guess all these people started in radio, and he helped get their start in radio.
That's
and they
crazy.
all thanked him for it, and they all came on. Again, Dan Patrick, you're right. She's got the girl next door beauty. If you if you said who's got not the flashy, gorgeous look, but who's the girl that is gorgeous and the girl you marry, it's Jeannie Tripplehorn.
Right. She's in Basic Instinct, and of course, all eyes are on every part of Sharon Stone.
Sure.
But then you're still like, who's that one over there? Who's the brunette? What's going on? Yeah, wow. I haven't thought about her. I want to watch every movie she's ever done. Oh my God. All right. Thank you, Bob. Good to talk to you this week, and we'll talk to you again next week as we're leading into a real football game. So we typically do this Wednesday thing. I might be on a plane at this time a week from now. I haven't heard our travel plans yet, but we got to figure it out.
We're going to have to figure it out. We're going to have to, I'll talk to you, and we will somehow be on next week.
Yeah, maybe this is the move, because I think Wednesday I'm not positive what happens because it's going to be travel day, so it might be pre-recorded or whatever. But Thursday, for sure, I'm doing a show from a hotel in Minnesota with Scott. So if you can gear it toward doing coming on with us, on Thursday. That's going to be like a early pregame show, 10 to noon Eastern time, which will be 9 to 11 Minnesota time. And I'll be on time because Scott will help wake me up, so we'll be good. So I'm thinking if you can gear, Bob, I want you to base your entire work week around doing a radio show with me for free, all right?
You got it. Let's do it. We're going to do it at 11 o'clock Eastern on Thursday. It's on my schedule.
That sounds good. All right, man. I'll talk to you.
Sounds good.
All right.
You got it.
There's Bob Gaughan. I'm Brad Ryder. It is Ryder Radio. It's episode 148 of Ryder Radio, and he's our only guest for today. We'll get into more things in a moment. I'm going to play a song and get us back on track in a couple minutes. I'm Brad Ryder. It's Ryder Radio. This portion of Ryder Radio has been deleted for the podcast version. If you want to hear everything that happens, listen live weekdays 10 to noon at ryderradio.com. Is there an explanation for why live music sounds so much better than studio music? Like that song, it's called Locked in the Trunk of a Car. It's off of the Tragically Hip's album Fully Completely, which is the consensus would probably be that that's the best thing they've ever done, right? I mean, I'm very, very into them, so I have weird opinions about albums like We Are the Same and World Container and Coke Machine Glow is solo thing. Like there's a lot of stuff. Phantom Power. There's a lot there that on any given day I'll tell you that, this is what I think is the best. But I think the consensus is that 1992's or maybe 92 or 92, I think. Fully Completely is the number one. That's the stuff. When you're talking about the hip, that's most people who like the hip would probably lean toward that. And then that song is one that I think is a little bit more inside, a little like the average standard person who says, I like the hip. I've seen them twice. Like, you don't think about Locked in the Trunk of a Car. You think about Little Bones. You think about Courage, you think about 50 Mission Cap, and you think about Fireworks, and you think about more basic thing. That's a little bit more of a deep cut, although I think it was released as a single at some point. But that's one for the fans. That song, if you ask me at any point to name my favorite hip song, and I hate doing that, but if you ask me, I don't know, 30% of the time, that's the one I'm going to pick, is that song, that exact song. And I just listened to it thinking, man, I love this song. And then listening on headphones, it was good. I get why I love it. But it's not close to live. What is it about live music that makes it so much better? Because that was them trying as hard as they could to make the best possible version of the song. I have a theory. I have a new theory. I just thought of it. This is me thinking out loud, but because I'm listening to it, going, it's not nearly as good as the song is. The studio version is not nearly as good. Here's why. I think I have the answer. It's not that they play it live so it's better. It's that they've been practicing. They wrote a song. They recorded the song. This is theory. Try to apply this. Stick with me. If you listen to my stupid show, I hope that you listen for when I have insights like this. This is a brand new thought from me. I've never had this thought before, and I'm sharing it with you live at ryderradio.com. And I hope you appreciate it because I think this is a good one. It's not. This is just theory. It's not well thought out. I'm really just having this thought now. It's not that live is better. It's that they recorded that song 2 months after it was written, a month after it was written, a day after it was written, a week after, whenever. Like, hey, I got a night. We got to go in the studio. We're going to record an album. We've got the song. It's called Locked in the Trunk of a Car. And then they record it, and then they have to turn it in, and then it has to go onto the album, and then we get it. But that came out in 92, and now it's been 33 years. And they played that, let's say they didn't play it at every show. Let's say they played it at half of their shows. Let's say they played it at a third of their shows. Let's say they played 100 shows a year. Let's call it 30% of the time. So they played it 30 times. They had played it probably 30 times, and then they recorded it. right? And then they played it 30 times a year until they stopped touring in 16. So it was 30 times a year times 25 years. They just were practicing, and they got better. And they found new ways to make it interesting and new ways to twist, not the lyrics, but the tone. The guitar tone probably shifted a little. Maybe the bass line moved a little bit. Maybe there's some different drum fills. But there's certainly an attitude that comes with doing something over and over and over again. It's not that the live version is better. It's that they're better as a band at the end than they were when they recorded it because they've been practicing every day. That part I have thought about. I didn't think about why a live version of a song is better, but I have thought about how, you go see, what's the right example? Well, all right, I'll use Fish. Not everybody likes Fish, but talking to my buddy about the latest Fish tour, and neither of us went to any of the shows, but we both listened to some online. And it's like, man, they sound good. Yeah, you know why they sound good? Because the whole time I've liked them, I started listening to Fish in 1992. They've been playing every day since then and have just gotten better. You might not like the songwriting, you might not like the style, whatever it is, but if a dude plays guitar or drums or piano every day for 30 years, they're going to sound better at the end than they did at the beginning. And that's why bands can be, you're 60 years old and you're out there rocking like you're 22. It's because you've been practicing and playing and you're better. And that explains why Locked in the Trunk of a Car, which is one of my favorite hip songs, didn't sound great to me in my headphones just now because I was listening to the studio version, and the last several times I've heard it, it's been a live version, and the live version is better, but it's because they practiced for 20 years between the time that they recorded the studio one and the time that they recorded the live one that I'm listening to more often. That's interesting to me. That's insight. That's all I got. No big deal. All right, so I started digging into this Jean Triplehorn thing, which I recommend her. Her first film was Basic Instinct, so she didn't work before that in a Hollywood type of way. So Bob Gaughan brought up that Art Wander had all these friends in the world, all these people that he worked with. He passed away last week, and I'm glad Bob brought him up because it happened while I was out of town. I think Friday morning is when I saw the news, and I was in the car going to Saratoga, and I had a pre-tape show airing, and somebody actually sent me a text like, "Oh, I would have liked to have heard you talk about Art Wander today." And I don't have a ton to say about Art. I liked him, nice guy. Didn't know him super well, never worked with him, but was around him a little bit. And he obviously was iconic and interesting and fun and goofy, and kind of made himself the butt of the joke more often than not, and got it. He got that he was doing that. He's like, yeah, I'll take the hit. I'll be the goofy guy. That's fine. But I didn't know. I do remember there's some story about him being one of the first people to hear A Day in the Life by the Beatles. I don't know what that story is, but there's something. There's a connection to like the music world there. I did not know about Jean Triplehorn. So I looked up Jean Triplehorn, who I really liked. She's born in 1963, so she's 11 years older than I am. So, I'm 17 and she's 27 in 1992. Like, yeah, I liked her. She was good. So she's in Basic Instinct. She was in The Firm. She's in Reality Bites, but uncredited. Waterworld, Till There Was You, Sliding Doors, Very Bad Things, Mickey Blue Eyes, bunch of stuff none of us have ever seen. And she did TV. After, like the movie career, her last movie was in 2020, but she really kind of converted to a television actress. She was in Big Love on HBO. She was in Criminal Minds for 3 years. Did 48 episodes of that. Her voice is in BoJack Horseman, a cartoon thing. The Gilded Age. I don't know what that is. And she's in something coming up this year called The Lowdown, upcoming series. So she's still working, and she's now 62 years old. But what's her connection? What on earth would her connection to Art Wander be? So I'm just reading her Wikipedia thing. She's born in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Her dad was once a guitarist with Gary Lewis and the Playboys. That's something. Parents divorced when she was 2. Graduated from high school in 81. Spent a semester studying at the University of Tulsa. She performed on local TV shows, Creature Feature and Night Shift. She also worked part-time. Here it comes. Here comes the Art Wander thing. She also worked part-time, then full-time, on local rock radio station KMOD for several years before leaving for Juilliard. So she hung out and did radio with Art Wander and then went to the most prestigious acting school that exists. Most prestigious fine arts school. And Juilliard's a big deal, right? She attended Juilliard School's drama division as a member of the Group 19 from 86 to 90, which also included Laura Linney. So before going to Juilliard, before being in Basic Instinct, Gene Triplehorn did rock radio with Art Wander in Tulsa, Oklahoma? Is that really what we're talking about? Now I have to look up Art's Wikipedia because I want to know more about Art. I don't know a ton about him. I like him. Liked him. Arthur Wanderlich. Made it to 98 years old. That's pretty good. Raised on the East Side. Took an early interest in radio, skipping classes to watch Foster Brooks and Buffalo Bob Smith perform their radio show on WGR live from the W.T. Grant department store. He was in the Navy. Art was in the Navy. He produced radio programs for the Veterans Administration Hospital System. In 1956, he joined WKBW, it's Channel 7, as a news reporter. In 1958, hired a young Irwin Weinstein, who returned to Western New York after a stint in West Virginia, as his assistant. Weinstein later shortened his name to Irv and became Irv Weinstein, iconic Buffalo News anchor. Went on to program radio stations in New York, Chicago, Boston, Dallas, Baltimore, Atlanta, Tampa, and Memphis. At WOR-FM in New York, he met the Beatles and became a friend of Brian Epstein, their manager. In the 80s, he returned to Buffalo radio as a programmer and on-air personality in sports radio at WGKT. I don't know what that's supposed to be. I'm going to have to open that one up myself. It became 3WS. 3WS to me is the radio station that ran out of a closet in the building on Delaware Avenue when I first started there. Though his own sporting career was limited mostly to the amateur level, having variously played baseball, roller derby, and boxing. Art was a boxer and competed in roller derby? What the hell is going on? He used his experience in radio and fandom of the Bills and Mets to craft a show full of creative malapropisms, I don't know how you say it, zingers toward public sports figures and friendly rapport with his callers. As a sports host, Wander earned the nicknames the Tiny Tot of the Kilowatt for his 5'6" physique, and Your Private Pope, which was inspired by a fan-made theme song. After Bills GM Bill Polian called Wander out during a dinner speech, Wander's public profile rose dramatically. After WGKT changed formats, he was hired by WGR in 92 for a sports talk show, and starting in 96, worked in TV for Empire Sports Network. That makes sense then. All right, so I remember him being on the radio when I was in high school, and I graduated in 92. So that makes sense, because I remember specifically a friend of mine used to call into the show all the time, and he would use goofy names. One specifically was William from Williamsville. I remember that being a thing. It wasn't really William. His name actually was Terry. We can say it now that Art's dead. That was just Terry Miller, brother of Aaron Miller, who played in the NHL. But Terry used to call as William from Williamsville. And he started at at Empire Sports in 96. So he was gone from radio. I started in radio in 97 at GR, so that's why we never crossed paths as like colleagues. I knew him like from press boxes and press conferences and things like that. Went into the Buffalo Broadcasters Hall of Fame in 08. For much of the early 2010s, he appeared regularly as an analyst on the WBBZ TV program All Sports Western New York, hosted by Bob Kaczynski, who has a new podcast, by the way. I haven't watched or listened, but it seems good. I know Tim Graham was on as a guest, and he said it was like as professional as podcasts can possibly be, which makes sense because Bob is a TV veteran. But that exists. I don't know the name of it. I'm not trying to not say the name of it, but I'm telling you that there's a new podcast hosted by Bob Kaczynski, and Tim Graham was a guest. So there's that. Wander had 2 children, Scott and Kelly, from a previous marriage that ended in divorce. He died at home a week ago today at the age of 97. Oh, it said 98. I guess 97. All right. So that's what we know about Art. And he will be missed. Super interesting, dude. The Gene Triplehorn thing is crazy to me. The rest of it's fine. Like the music and sports part. I don't get the Gene Triplehorn, but Gene Triplehorn worked in rock radio, apparently, in Tulsa, Oklahoma. There was no mention of Tulsa there for Art. So maybe we're missing part of the story, but I didn't know any of that story. So it's pretty good. All right. This is the part where the show would end, but because we started late, I've got more stuff to do. So I'm going to play a song, and then we're gonna move on. We're going to continue. So I'll be back after a song or two. And I'm going to take you. I don't know when we're going to wrap it up, but I'm going to give a little bonus Writer Radio beyond noon because we didn't start at 10 like we typically do. All right, stay with me, please, or don't. Just go away. If you want to go away, just go. You don't have to be here. It's fine. I recommend sticking around because it's going to be awesome. It's Writer Radio. This portion of Writer Radio has been deleted for the podcast version. If you want to hear everything that happens, listen live weekdays 10 to noon at writerradio.com. All right, bonus show. Bonus time. Same show. Bonus time on the show. Because I gypped you. I cheated you. I cheated you by starting the show late. The second day in a row. Yesterday there was technical issues. There were technical issues preventing me from starting the show. Today there was me being a sleep issue that kept me from doing the show. But we started, 20 minutes later, almost half an hour late. Because it was, I did officially make it 10:30. So in theory, we're going to go till 12:30. But I will say, I don't owe any extra to anyone because I give bonus show almost every day. I always say 10 to noon, and then noon ends up being like 12:17 or something like that. So I've built up enough, I think, on the positive side of bonus show. And we've only started late. It's like 3 times total out of 147 shows. We had a couple that started late because of, the one thing that never happens here that used to happen at the radio station was the Ask the Pro thing, where there was a guy who's a chiropractor who would come in to talk about vaccines for an hour. I used to have to sit. I didn't care. I was getting paid anyway. It didn't matter. Or I shouldn't have cared, I guess. I did care because that guy was just lying all the time, just making stuff up on the radio and using his expertise as a doctor, and by doctor, I mean chiropractor, to talk about the danger of vaccines. It's a weird show. It might be on... Here's a Friday thing. So it might be on this week. I don't know. It's like every other week, this guy just pays to come on the radio and lie to you. So that led to some delays, but I didn't get to do an extra show there because something else was on after me. So if he was there from 10 to 11, I would just do the show from 11 to 12, and that was that. And there were other paid shows that would come on there too. Those were not nearly as offensive. There's just like a history show and fun Lockport stuff that was, at worst was boring, but was fine. It wasn't some fraud like this guy that's been on for like 30 years. He's been paying to be on the radio so that he can say stuff out loud that's not true for 30 years. And they just let him because he gives them $150 or something. It's crazy. It's crazy. So that led to the show starting late sometimes, but that was scheduled lateness. And then once or twice at the station, some sort of technical thing would happen where we couldn't get on the air for whatever reason. And the reason would be that it's a woefully understaffed place. So there are engineers, very talented, intelligent engineers, but they're not in the building all the time. So when something goes wrong, you got to start calling around, and it would take a while to get things going. Yesterday felt like that. Yesterday was, nothing would work. I couldn't get the stream to work. And then I eventually did, but we started the show 20 minutes or something late. And then today was just me not being prepared. I was sleeping. I woke up. The show had already started, in theory. Time-wise, the show had started, and I woke up 16 minutes into it or something like that. So we started late. So we're going to go a little long. That's the plan. As I wrote in the chat on here, your computer is fine. Your host is the problem. Me, I'm the problem. Someone said, are we just getting started, or is my computer messed up? No, not your computer. It's me, dude. Me. I'm the problem. And that happened at, 10:30-ish. As opposed to 10 o'clock when the show's supposed to start, which it will again tomorrow. We'll get it right. It'll be fine. What was the other thing? We should set up a Patreon account to get Brad paid. Brad does need to get paid at some point, but it's not on the listeners to do it. It's on me. So I've been using AI a lot lately, mostly to make jokes about Paul Peck being in Hallmark movies. That's kind of been the situation. But last night I started talking to it about how to. I have one sponsor in mind right now for this show. So it's weird because I think the show is good. I'm committed to it. I will say it sucks that the last 2 days it started late, but generally speaking, we're approaching 50 shows just at my house for not for no one, for everyone. Anyone who wants to join and listen is cool. But as far as like getting paid, I've done 50 free shows, almost 40. This is 48. 48 free shows, no sponsors, no nothing. And it's because I haven't asked anybody to sponsor the show yet. Like, I think about it sometimes, like, nobody's paying me to do this. Like, you didn't ask anyone to pay you to do it. I literally have not asked a single person, hey, would you like to be a sponsor? I've, had some conversations where it's come up and it's been broached, and it's like, theoretically, here's what you would do, and here's how you would grow it, and here's how you would attract sponsors. But I have not once said, hey, owner of a business, I would like you to give me money and I will talk about your business. I haven't done that once. That's coming. I just haven't gotten to it. 48 shows in, I probably should have gotten to it by now. And hey, this is how the radio show ended too. I did 100 episodes there and never got around to going, hey, want to sponsor this thing? Because it'll work. It'll be fine. But I haven't gotten myself to do it yet. So while I appreciate this guy saying we should set up a Patreon account, no. I got it. I'll handle it. Would it be helpful if somebody just reached out and went, hey, I'd like to be a sponsor of your show? Yeah, that would be helpful. So I wouldn't have to do the initial reach out, phone call, text message, whatever. That would be cool. So if anybody wants to do that, you're welcome to do it. But I don't want to be in the Patreon. Patreon sounds like pity to me. And I get that there is a whole culture of this. There's a whole culture of Substack. People. Tyler Dunn. Tyler Dunn is an awesome reporter and writer. And he was at the news, and then he left, and he covered the Packers for a while. And I think that went away. And he was just like, screw it. I don't need somebody. I'll do it myself. And he's, I don't know, it's... Go Long is the name of the thing. I don't know if it's golong.com or whatever, but here and there I catch bits and pieces of Ty on the radio or on podcasts or whatever, and he's awesome. And he just made a go of it himself. I think that's cool. So I'm not trying to downplay that, but when I hear Patreon, to me, Patreon sounds like begging, and I don't want to do that. The Substack thing sounds more legit. But I don't think any of that is necessary to get where I'm trying to go with this show. I think it's just a matter of me putting together a proposal and then going to a business and going, hey, you want to be a sponsor? And they'll go, yeah. And then once I've got that one, then I go to another one. And go, hey, do you want to? You're not going to get everything they got, but for like half the money, we could And they'll say, yeah. And then I think, like, that's the vision that I have of it. Have I gotten to that point yet? No, because I'm too busy doing other things and trying to make all the technology work. But I think that's where it's going to happen. Writer Radio OnlyFans account. No, that's not the direction we're going either, Arbo. Thank you. I appreciate it. So for the second day in a row, I had Gabe Davis come up on the show. Yesterday it was, I think Matt Perino brought it up. And then today it was Bob Gaughan who brought it up. And so I Google, and this has happened before. How do I tell my computer that forever, for the rest of my life, I want Google to be my default search? Like when I type into Chrome a search thing, I want Google to look for it for me, not Yahoo. But Yahoo has invaded my computer, and Yahoo is constantly taking over my search engine. What's the word I'm looking for? The default thing. It's like I try to Google something, and I don't Google it. I Yahoo it, and nobody Yahoos things. I don't want to Yahoo things. So anyway, I Yahooed Gabe Davis, and this is tough too because I don't know what's real and what's not when it comes to stories online. So a bunch of headlines about Gabe Davis. I tried to do Google, but I did Yahoo, and then I did Gabe Davis, and then I clicked news. They have it set up like Google. They figured out that Google's good at this. Yahoo, we were cool in the 90s, man. We go way back, me and Yahoo. My first email address. I still have a Yahoo email address. It's my first one. Couldn't even believe that it was free. You could have a free email address at Yahoo, and I still have it. And it's connected to like my fantasy football accounts and stuff. So I do have a relationship with Yahoo. I just don't want it doing the searching for me. No, Harry, we're not doing OnlyFans. No OnlyFans for me. I don't even want cameras involved. I got people heckling me saying the show needs to be a video podcast. No, it does not. You seen me? You don't want to look at me? I sound way better than I look. I'm confident in my words and my voice and my delivery. I am not confident in my stupid fat face. We don't need that. That doesn't make... Why would my fat face make a show better? Think about it. Well, video is the wave of the future. That's what people care about. No, you don't. If this is a video, it's dead in the water because you'd have to see me. You can pretend I'm handsome if you listen on the radio. You can pretend I'm good looking. You can pretend that my eyes are open the whole time. You can pretend I'm looking at you. You can pretend my hair is combed. I mean, there's a comb in years. Don't do that. You don't want this. You don't want video of this. You certainly don't want OnlyFans. No. No to all of you. Liking your own post on a chat thing does not inspire me at all, Harry. So I looked up Gabe Davis. Here are the headlines about Gabe Davis. Latest Buffalo Bills news spells the end for $24 million pass catcher. So what is that? I'm guessing that is a Curtis Samuel's not going to be here. He has been here for more than a year, and I'm none the wiser. Like, he could have been in Saskatchewan for the last year plus, and it would have had the same impact as he's had on the Bills. I'm sure he's great and fine, and people want him around, maybe. All right, let's see if that's what this is about, because that's who's in the picture. The Bills are getting set to wrap up the preseason, give them the trek toward week 1, where they'll host the Ravens. Ahead of that, though, they could be bringing back a familiar face. Set to host Gabe Davis for a visit after he meets with the Steelers. That was yesterday. Steelers are yesterday. Bills are next. Josh Allen said at some point that he expects to see him in the next couple days. The Bills potentially bringing back Davis could spell the end for Curtis Samuel. They signed the former Commanders receiver to a 3-year deal last season, but he had a very quiet 2024, catching 31 passes and a touchdown. That's shocking to me, honestly, that he caught 31 passes. I watched all those games. He caught 31 passes? I would have guessed 4. Who is writing this? This is Jarrett Bailey. Is that a real person, or are you a bot The story just came out yesterday, 11:45. This is like 24 hours old. Should Davis sign, the wide receiver room would roughly look like this, if I'm correct. Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman, Josh Palmer, Gabe Davis, Elijah Moore, Tyrell Shavers. This means Curtis Samuel would get released/traded, as he's largely been unavailable due to injury since camp started. Luckily for the Bills, there are multiple teams that could use a player of his skill set, and a fresh start for him would be the best thing. Well, how is that luck? See, that's what makes me think either this is AI writing the story, or it's just a terrible writer. That's what's tough with the internet. You can't tell the difference between horrible human beings who shouldn't be hired to write things, or computers that are writing things, and it's artificial intelligence, so they're learning how to write from all the terrible people who shouldn't be writing. AI is learning from the worst. So that leads us to an article about the Bills are going to meet with Gabe Davis. Here's my speculation on their room, the wide receiver room, and then a sentence like, luckily for the Bills, there are multiple teams that could use a player of his skill set, and a fresh start for him would be the best thing. No, that's luckily for Curtis Samuel. That has nothing to do with the Bills. If they cut Curtis Samuel because they bring back Gabe Davis, they don't care about Curtis Samuel. So is that a computer? Is that AI that's writing terribly, or is that just a crap writer? Because that's horribly written by, in theory, Jarrett Bailey. But that sounds like a made-up name anyway. So what are we talking about? All right, so that's one of the stories, the Gabe Davis thing. The interesting thing to me was reading about, reading from Steelers fans. Two headlines. Gabe Davis leaves Steelers facility without signing contract. Steelers wide receiver target leaves facility without contract. Two different ones. And then a third one. Steelers playing dangerous game with Gabe Davis as AFC threats loom. Let's see what this is. This one is written by, in theory, a person named Zachary Rotman. Zachary Rotman? All right, what does he say? The Steelers revamped their wide receiver core, acquiring DK Metcalf in a deal with the Seahawks and trading George Pickens away to the Cowboys. Steelers figure to have upgraded both on and off the field by going from Metcalf to Pickens. See, that's backward too. They didn't go from Metcalf to Pickens. They went from Pickens to Metcalf. So why am I reading this? Like, as soon as there's one noticeable goof, should I just assume, oh, a robot wrote this and I should stop thinking about it? Because that's completely backward. If any self-respecting writer would not make that mistake, there would be an editor. Nobody edited it. And this is from Fansided, which is just in theory, a site written by non-professional writers. But, I mean, how do you make that mistake? They upgraded both on and off the field by going from Metcalf to Pickens. Except they did the opposite. But the same problem they've had for several years now remains in place. They lack an ideal wide receiver, too. By letting Gabe Davis leave his visit without a deal, Pittsburgh risks having history repeat itself. Davis visited with the Steelers on Tuesday, and it was reported even before the visit took place that he'd visit with the Bills immediately after. This guy or robot says, I understand that he planned on visiting the Bills, but if the Steelers were smart, they wouldn't have let Davis leave the building without a deal. This isn't to say Davis is a world beater by any means, but considering the state of the Steelers roster, they could really use him. The fact they didn't sign him after their visit is worrisome, especially with a visit with an AFC rival looming. Davis is coming off a down year. We had 20 catches for 239 yards in 10 games for the Jaguars and was cut after the season came to an end. While he obviously didn't play well in Jacksonville, Davis' season ended prematurely with a meniscus tear. He was robbed of any chance of turning his season around. Prior to his Jaguar stint, he was a solid complimentary receiver, averaged 791 yards in his last two seasons with the Bills, recorded over 540 yards in each of his 4 seasons in Buffalo, also famously had a 200-yard, 4-touchdown game in the 2021 AFC Championship game. And then it just goes on from there. But I don't trust this story. But the point is, I like Gabe Davis more than just about everybody who's not affiliated with the team. And I'm very interested in this. I feel like if I change my default search engine to Google, we'll get a better handle on this thing. So I'm going to try doing that right now. I'm not going to play music because that screws up the podcast version. Search engine change. Yeah, Google, the one at the top. Google. This is Google Chrome. Why doesn't Google Chrome protect itself from whatever invasive BS is going on and sending me to Yahoo all the time? All right. So I did that. I closed that out. I'm going to try again. I'm going to type in Gabe Davis and search, and we've got a Google search. All right. Here we go. Now I'm going to click on news. And let's see what we've got. Mostly the same stuff. New York Times. See, there's no way this is real. This AI thing is out of control. Is it remotely possible that a human being working for the New York Times wrote an article and then presumably an editor would write the headline, and the headline in the New York Times would be, "Do the Steelers need another wide receiver? Question mark. If so, is Gabe Davis the answer? Question mark." That's got New York Times at the top of it. I'm going to click on it. It probably won't let me read it. It'll try to get $1 out of me or something. No, it's fine because it's not really the New York Times. Mike DeFabo, whatever, Mike. The ongoing questions about the Steelers' wide receiver depth appeared to be answered in mid-March when they traded for DK Metcalf. Blah, blah, blah. A few months later, traded Pickens to the Cowboys. Now with cutdown day looming, rosters in the league coming into focus, could the Steelers still be in the market for a receiver? On Tuesday, which is yesterday, the Steelers will explore one of those options when they host 26-year-old Gabe Davis. Davis also visited with the Steelers in June, but left without a deal. Well, he did it again. 6'2", 225, fourth-round pick, blah, blah, blah. Beyond the medical concerns, he's not the most polished route runner and dealt with drop issues early in his career. Whatever. Okay, so the Steelers didn't sign him. They talked to him. I want to know about the Bills part. Steelers, Gabe Davis, schedule second visit. Not that. All right, NBC Sports. Let this be Mike Florio. Please be Mike Florio. Michael David Smith. Close enough. It is a Pro Football Talk thing. Okay, a reunion between the Bills and Gabe Davis could be coming. Planning to visit the Bills tomorrow. The story is from yesterday. Yeah. All right, so today. Visiting the Bills today, according to a guy at the Post-Gazette. Steelers had medical concerns about Davis after a previous visit. He was cut a year into his 3-year contract with the Jaguars. It was all the same stuff. He also visited with the Saints, Giants, and Niners. Channel 7, should the Bills bring back Gabe Davis? Speaking of Channel 7, they were at our baseball game last night. Channel 7 was there. No reporter, just a photographer. That's kind of what they do in local media these days. And I watched 7 News at 11 o'clock last night. Made it through the whole thing. We weren't in it. I got interviewed. I'm on camera representing Southline Little League, Southline Athletic Association. And the story did not air. But if it does, if it did, if it's there, I'll find it. I'll play it on the show tomorrow. Maybe it aired this morning. We recorded all of everything 7 News did from 11 o'clock last night through now. So if it exists, we'll have it. But take a look. Watch for a story about Southline Little League on Channel 7. Because maybe it exists. I should Google that. I mean, what else am I doing? I'm hanging out doing bonus show here for you. I'm not even looking up myself. I'm on the Gabe Davis thing. All right, so I'm going to finish the Davis thing. Then I'm going to see if I can find the story. See what happens. All right. According to NFL reporter Jordan Schultz, the Bills are expected to host Gabe Davis for a visit later this week. This story is from yesterday. Yep. It'll be... That's after his Steelers visit, which is his second Steelers visit. There's no news in any of this. Does a reunion make sense for the Bills? I think this is a no-brainer if the price is right. Davis is still available this late into the summer and can't be asking for a huge deal. If he were here, I don't think the visit with the Bills would even happen. If he was asking for a huge deal, I don't think the visit with the Bills would even happen because of their limited cap space. While in Buffalo, he was a solid contributor, especially when he was a bit further down on the depth chart. I imagine that's where he would once again be if a deal gets done. Don't think of this as the Bills looking for someone who's going to play a ton of snaps. This would be to find someone who can stretch the field, is a solid blocker, and can be an insurance policy for the wide receiver room. Yes. And then Matt Bove, Channel 7, who I believe is the one that sent the photographer to our Little League game last night, which we won. There's a tweet. What if Gabe Davis in 2025 can be what Mac Hollins was for the Bills in 2024? I think I'm going to hit play on this. See what we got here. Hold on. Let's see what it's Matt Bove and Dom Tibbetts from Channel 7 sitting on a space station or something.
For this team. And you could
produced in meaningful games.
Yeah, and you could also say, like, oh, well, he doesn't catch the ball consistently enough, or he doesn't get open, and that's not what the Bills need on this roster. Yeah, but he can stretch the field. They don't have somebody, I think, right now who can truly stretch the field the way Gabe Davis does. He is somebody who blocks really, really well. In my mind, I'm thinking of this as a Mac Hollins type role from last year, this year, with a player who Josh Allen already has some chemistry with, and a team where he understands kind of what makes the locker room go. Keep in mind, Gabe Davis was a captain on this team in 2023.
That's right.
That was actually 2 years ago.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. See, okay. Matt Bove likes Gabe Davis. I like Gabe Davis. Message in the chat says, side note, Gabe Davis stinks. He doesn't stink. I like him. Josh likes him. If Josh likes him, I like him. Nobody who stinks had 200 yards and 4 touchdowns in the greatest offensive game the Bills have ever played. Yeah, that's not what stink is. That's not stink. You're wrong, man. That's not stink. I know he's been hurt. I know he's not a perfect player. I'm not saying cut all the receivers and rely completely on Gabe Davis to be the guy, but I don't like Gabe Davis not having an NFL job. I didn't like him going to Jacksonville. I didn't like him leaving here. Bring him back. Sign me up. Granted, I also am, like, I was on board with hire Lindy Ruff again. I wasn't pounding the table like this has to happen, but when it happened, I said, ooh, I'm interested. I think this should be good. It was not good. It didn't work at all. We're going to try again this year. We'll see what happens. But, yeah, I can be nostalgic for people that I enjoy watching play and coach and things. And even if it didn't go perfectly the first time around, I'm in. I like Gabe Davis. He's a guy I enjoy watching play. Does that, like, put the Bills over the top? I don't know. Did James Cook signing put the Bills over the top, and now they're going to win the Super Bowl? They had him last year. They didn't. They had Davis before that, and they didn't. But I like him. And I'd like to see him back. Future guest idea. Maybe would like to get a strength and conditioning coach on from UB. Curious what their training looks like a couple days before a game. Do they lift? Do they lift light? Do they go full cardio the day before a game, etc.? Curious, as my son is slowly getting into working out and is currently in modified football, baseball, etc. That is cool. I like that idea. I like the idea of, like, we just pretend we know what the strength and conditioning coach does and how they operate. But if I think about it, like, what do they do? I don't know what they do. That is fun. That's a good idea. We can make that happen. I'm going to be around the UB Bulls quite a bit, sometimes in hotels. We can make the magic happen. I got friends that are very connected within the program. Good, personal, sometimes checking in on the show type of friends that know all of those people. We can get them. That's a good idea. Jay Miller, 1211. I like it. All right. I'm done, I think. Was there another thing I was going to do? We didn't do any Paul Peck movie ideas with Hallmark and AI today, but we can just get to that tomorrow because I'm going to wrap this thing up. I'm going to play one more song and get us out of here. I don't know what it is. What is it going to be? This one. All right. Thanks for listening. I'll be back tomorrow at 10 o'clock for real, and we'll do it all over again. This has been episode 148. Tomorrow's 149, 10 to noon, writerradio.com.
What are you doing for lunch?
I don't know. I have a turkey sandwich.
We're gonna go around the corner. I think you should come with us. This is a great place.
I don't know. Okay.
We brought you a shirt.
You get out of here? Will you get out of here? Will you? Now, will you go to lunch? Go to lunch. Will you go to lunch?